Hello, good evening, everyone. How was your day? You're welcome to the day 11 of this month's training. This the 1 month free professional diploma training in human rights and social justice. This training is being provided by the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. And the reason why we are providing this training for free is to populate the earth with the knowledge of peace so that people will know what is expected of them when it comes to peace building, conflict resolutions, and all of that. Because it's only when we know what is expected of us that we can do anything whatsoever to promote peace, also to encourage um, peaceful resolution of conflict wherever there's conflict issues. So the aim of this training is to educate our populations to have knowledge of peace and how they can promote peace in their communities and in our society. So, the essence, this training is being organized by the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. And I want to appreciate those of you that have taken opportunity to apply for the country representatives of the Institute. We are receiving several applications, more are still coming, and we are very glad to see the number of people that are coming to see that we have a presence in their country. And for those of you that are applying from Nigeria, Nigerians are not included in this. Since the administrative headquarters of the institute is in Nigeria, we expect those that are in domiciled in those countries, are resident in those countries, who are indigenous or citizens of those countries to apply for the representation of the institute in their country. In Nigeria, automatically you are disqualified. You're not to apply. You understand? So that's what it is. So we expect our citizens to apply and not Nigerians. All right. So we have been receiving applications and we start working on them. We have started considering them. So those of you that apply, very soon you'll receive a message for screening and for interaction or interview, as the case may be, so that by next year, January, I think second week of January, we organize training for you, and then from there you will start your work in your home country. So let's see how it goes. I wish you those that are applying the best. All right. So the idea why we want to open up country offices or country representation is to see that the institute have presence in the country, and apart from that, it's also making impacts. Yeah, there may be other institutions in your country that promote peace, but certainly this is a global peace agenda that we are working on. All right, and so it has a broader perspective and is going to also um, serve as a supplementary institution in yeah, or that are promoting peace and conflict resolution in your own country, as the case may be. You understand? So this is what is all about here, and we hope that at the end of the day, we are going to experience multi-effectual impacts concerning uh, peace building activities in our society. So I welcome all of you for today's training. And on behalf of the Governing Council, we wish you a very beautiful and blissful festive period. And we pray that you'll go through the period without any harm so that we can see you next year to continue to spread the message of peace. If you have joined us for today's training, we encourage you to share the link with someone, invite them to be part of today's training, let them know that something is going on here and it can benefit them. So encourage someone to join by sharing the link with them What that means that when you share the link of the training with someone, you are helping to promote peace indirectly as well. All right, you are helping people to be aware of what is happening here, and when they are aware, they also get trained, they have the knowledge, and of course, they also help in promoting peace in our communities. So that is this. And so share the link with someone, let them be part of today's training so that all together we learn and then do what is expected of us in this case. All right. And so I would like to acknowledge the presence of some of our friends that have been joining all around the world. We have people from Nigeria. We have Ada Williams from Nigeria. We have Polka from Nigeria. And we have Pat Winston from Nigeria. We have Harriet from Nigeria. We have Ayodele from Nigeria. We have Niela Fusi from Lesotho. Yes, Lesotho is here, ably represented. We have Uchenna from Nigeria, of course. We have Jacob Ifeong from Nigeria. We have Emmanuel Adaba from Nigeria. We have Stanley from Zambia. We have Oladipo from Nigeria. We have Neil from Botswana. And we have Beatrice from Nigeria. We have Justice from Lesotho. We have Oladipo from Nigeria, of course. We have Musa from Gambia. And we have Christine from Uganda. All right. And we have several people from different parts of the world joining this training. And we have Prof. Vic with us, always around. Prof, you are welcome. And then we have Siwale from Zambia. So you are all welcome, Christopher Olufemi, a member of the Institute from Port Harcourt. You're welcome, Nigeria. We have fight. Listen, have fight. Don't go and fight, please. Your name is Fight. I don't know what that means in your own language, but don't go and fight. Fight. Listen from Malawi, please. No fighting. All right. It is where you are welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. Today's training. We have Sheikh Tijan. You're welcome. We have Gosway from Ghana. You're welcome. I just want to take time to acknowledge a few of you here. We have Prashan Power from India. Prashan, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to have all of you to join us for today's training. For those of you that are not able to acknowledge you, you are all welcome. And we are happy that you take time to connect today's training. Please do wait to share the link with someone, put it on your wall, invite them to be part of what is going on here, and then also paraphrase by commenting what we are saying, and also contribute, ask questions, and seek for clarification where you're confused. And of course, for those of you that have written your exams on peace and conflict resolution or conflict management, We'll publish a result, and within the week, by tomorrow or next tomorrow, you start getting CR numbers to download your certificates. So you are welcome, Mr. Zachi from Ethiopia. You're also welcome. So thank you very much. The worker from Lesotho, you're welcome. So thank you very much, Uko Samuel from Benue, Nigeria. You're welcome. Thank you, and Miranda Adebanjo from Gambia. Adebanjo from Gambia, you're welcome. It sounds like Nigerian name, Adebanjo, or a Nigerian based in Gambia. It's great to have you to participate in today's training. Thank you very much. We are happy to have you. And the Ambrose from Kenya, all of you, you're welcome. So today I want us to look at policy and governance for social justice. Policy and governance for social justice. And some of the topical issues that we're going to consider under this unit is human rights in policy making and governance. We also look at social welfare policies and their impact on marginalized communities. We also look at addressing corruption and ensuring accountability. So these are the topical issues we're going to consider under this unit. And we hope that you're going to follow along to paraphrase, comment, elaborate in the comment section, both on YouTube, on Facebook. Do way to share and comment. All right. I discovered that people on YouTube don't normally comment. So comment, paraphrase, let's know what's happening, and let's know what you're following, you're understanding. All right. So thank you very much for being part of today's training. So let's when we talk about policy, we talk about governance. Governance cannot do without policies. Do you understand? And policies are intended to improve the living standard of the people. Policies are meant to bring order. Policies are meant to bring directions in governance. Do you understand? So it helps people to know where governance is going. I get a point on. So that's why policies are very, very important. And that's why policy formulations must be holistic. Policy considerations must be way informed. Do you understand? And of course, the implementation also must be holistic. All hands must be on deck to implement the policy to make sure that the policy achieves success. So governance and policy go hands in hand because governance cannot do without policies. Do you understand? Every administration have policies. Some policies are past policies that are being, uh, continually being implemented, and then there are new policies that governance bring as a result of issues that they encounter in their own administration, and then they need to bring executive orders or policies, as the case may be. I get them point out to see that the administration take a different dimension to support what is being expected, or what has been happening, or what is being expected to happen. I get the point now. So policies are vital instruments in governance. Do you understand? They are vital instruments in governance. Governance cannot do without policies. Do you understand? So, and we have those that we call policymakers. So you are part of policymakers, and the citizen must be carried along, or communities must be carried along when policies are being considered. So all the stakeholders must be involved in policy formulations and policy implementations. Do you understand? So that you see the kind of policies you are bringing on board. Are they, promoting the welfare of the people generally, and of course, are they also promoting the human rights of the people, or are they policies that segregate and discriminate against other sections of the people, or what are you doing? I get a point now. So that is exactly what we're talking about here. So policies must be holistic, and policies must be aimed to promote the welfare of the people. I get a point now. So that's policies for you. Altogether. So we'll be looking at human rights in policy making and governance. So that's what we're starting with. So human rights in policy making and governance. So we all agree that human rights are fundamental rights and freedoms inherent. So we all agree that human rights are fundamental rights and freedoms inherent to all individuals, regardless of nationalities. All right, regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of your gender, or that status. So it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter your color. It doesn't matter the language you speak. You understand? What matters the most is that you are a human being, and we are all human beings. We live, we die. Do you understand? We are all creation of God. Do you understand? So we all have breath in us, and when this breath is ceased, we are no more. So we have what we call inherent rights that we all must benefit. It doesn't matter where we come from. It doesn't matter our social status in the society. We all have this right to benefit from the rights of freedom of speech. You speak freely, I speak freely. I get the point now. You express your feelings, all right? So far as your feelings, as you're expressing it, does not cause infringement on other people's rights, you are good to go. I get the point now. So that's what it is. That's what it is. So as you are expressing your rights, as you're enjoying your rights, I enjoy my own rights. We all enjoy our rights. Do you understand? You don't need to infringe on my rights. It doesn't matter whether I'm poor or I'm rich, but you don't need to come and infringe on my rights. But this is where the problem is. Do you understand? Many a times we see people's right being, infringed upon. And of course, when that happens, you see conflict. Yes, I get the point on. And that's why it makes this course relevant to be taught here. Because when the rights of people are being infringed on, what happens? Dispute, conflict. You understand? So human human rights in policy making and governance is very important in governance because human rights are essential for building fair, inclusive, and democratic societies. Building what? Fair, inclusive, and democratic societies. No. That's why human rights are very, very important in governance because all governance must be aimed at sustaining, promoting the rights of the people. If policies are not meant for the welfare of the people, what are the policies for? What's the essence of the policy in the first place if it's not intended to benefit the people? And sometimes we sometimes people make policies that benefit a particular section of the people or a particular segment of the society and then exclude some segment of the society, and that's where you see conflict coming in. This is where you see people shouting on marginalization and exclusion. I get a point on because of certain policies. When you make policies that gay children should not be sent to school, only male children should be sent to school, what does that tell you? It tells you that there's a discrimination. It tells you that there's you know, you know, segregation. And this is not too good. Do you understand? It's not too good. Right? So you are limiting the older segment, the potentials to fulfill their destiny. Right? They cannot be able to question the wrongs that are going on in their community because they are not educated. They cannot hold their husbands accountable because they are not educated. They cannot question the wrong their husbands are doing or their male counterparts are doing because they lack education. I can tell you that women are very, very, very vital in peace building. The role of women in peace building must at all times be encouraged and promoted. I get a point now. That sometimes I may be angry and be like, I'm going to declare the war or Armageddon. Do you understand? The war or Armageddon. I want to declare a war or Armageddon on someone, but my wife will say, no, it does not worth it. You see, I love you so much, and I don't want anything to happen to you. Do you understand? So that war or Armageddon you want to call, I am not part to it. I am not involved. And I'm not encouraging you to do it for the safety of myself, that is for my own safety, for my own peace, and for my own freedom to move and enjoy my life and the safety of our children. That war is not necessary. So forget about it. I get the point now. She's not on the street shouting, but she has played a very vital and important role. You understand? She said, don't do it. And I respect my wife, and then I don't do it. And then we have a peace, we move on, we forget the issue. Do you understand what I'm saying here? So women are very, very, very vital in peace building. Their role in families, in homes, very, very, very important. You will see that if you can agree with me, women spend most time with their children more than men. I get a point now. So any society that says women should not be educated, should not be sent to school, only men, then that policy is not a good policy. Forget about what you believe in, forget about what you think about. There's what we call harmful policies. This policy is a very harmful policy. Do you understand? It's a very harmful policy. It's not good in all ramification. It is not good in all ramification. So that that policy is not a good policy in all ramification. So policy integration is also very important. Policy making grounded in human rights ensure justice, equity, and the well-being of the citizens. So that is what policy integration that has to do with human rights, you know, uh, aim at achieving. So let's look at the role of human rights in policy making. The role of human rights in policy making. One is framework for equity and justice. Framework for what? Equity and justice. So policies that are, you know, grounded in human rights promote equity and justice. So when policies are being formulated with the consciousness of the rights of the people, then what you see in those kind of policies is equity and justice, equity and fairness. Do you understand? For every member of this society, for every citizen of the country. So this kind of a system ensures that policies addresses what? The issue of discrimination and inequalities. So there's no place for inequality, there's no place for discrimination. Do you understand? It helps to reduce systemic biases in social and legal structures. I get a point on. So when policies are based on equity and justice, it reduces systemic biases. I get a point on in social and legal structures. So that's what it is. So legal structures are being provided, are being designed to make sure that there's inclusivity, there is what? Justice. So this is what it means. So any form of anti-discrimination laws protecting minority group is a good example of policies that are human rights, you know, uh, oriented. Do you understand? Then another role of human rights in policymaking is strengthening democratic governance, right? It enhances citizens' participation and accountability. Yes. It's, when policies are not fair, it discourages people. Like in my own country, for instance, now we have some electoral policies being considered by INEC that we do consider them as unfair policies, policies that can breed what? Crisis, policies that most especially when they are being uh, misinterpreted, when they are being misapplied. Do you understand? So we consider such kind of policies uh, as not too good. Do you understand? So, but policies that are way grounded on the rights and the on human rights strengthen and promote transparency and trust in institutions. Do you understand? It promotes what? Transparency and trust in institutions. Like I'm saying. So there are some institutions in our own country that are not being trusted. And I'm going to mention that I'm not going to be afraid, even if those representatives are here, because I know you are here, and I'm going to mention it. Number one, the Nigerian police, for instance, they are not trusted. You heard me right? And if you are a police officer here, I want you to know that your institution is not trusted because it lacks transparency in the first place. So it's not also being trusted because we have issues. We have seen issues whereby people are being manhandled by the police. And when a matter is being taken up, they bring charges, they bring stories. Are you point on? Write fake issues, brings fake stories and tales, fake stories about, and even bring some fake accusations. But their own point of view is being considered because they're security personnel, and you cannot doubt a security personnel when you say his life was threatened, when it was somebody was threatening with his arm or with something or something. I get the point now. So all those kind of stories we have heard them. Maltreat somebody, I bring test story. Another institution that is not being trusted is the judiciary. The judiciary system in my country is not trusted. And it's because, and I know some of you are here, you are lawyers, barristers, some of you are practicing lawyers. I'm saying it, and you yourself, you are aware of what I'm saying. Yes, you yourself, you are aware of what I'm saying. You look at the case of Pharaoh Timi, Pharaoh Timi, and after Babarola that is going on now. What does that taste you? Tells you that something is not just correct somewhere. Do you understand? What are we promoting? What is going on? If someone defend me, what should I do? I should have, is this a civil matter? I should approach a civil court and follow up. You go to court, bring your evidences. Let me bring my evidences and let's argue the matter. You incarcerate somebody, you are not allowing the person to bring evidence to. You say the person defend you. Okay, it's fine. Allow me now. Let me come and defend myself. Bring my evidences to defend what I have said. And then you incarcerate somebody and you don't want the person to come out. So how will the person defend himself? And then what are you saying? Legal system that is what? Do you understand? So this kind of situations make great doubts on the system. Another institution that is not being trusted in our country is the INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission. I'm saying it. They also, if you are an official of INEC here in this class, know that your institution is not being trusted. Why? Because people are not transparent. When we wanted to have electronic voting, if people make statements and make all manner of statement that election is going to be transmitted live and direct and it's going to be open and everybody will see result, before we know what was happening, story changed in the middle of the process. So how can we trust this kind of a system? Do you want me to trust you? Do you want someone else to trust you? Very, very difficult. I get a point now. So, but what I'm saying, I'm just giving you some example of institutions that are not being trusted. Again, a point on. But policies that are embedded or are based on human rights, they aims to promote what? Transparency and trust in institutions. So when you make policies that have the welfare of the people, that promote the rights of the people, then what you are simply doing is that you are telling the people to trust you. You are telling the people to hold you accountable. I get a point now. You are telling people to mirror you and see the true side of you. That's what it means. And these three institutions that I have mentioned in my own country, I don't know about your country, but in my own country, these three institutions that I have mentioned need serious reforms. Do you understand? They need serious reforms, very, very serious reform. And another issue is that it's not that some of these institutions don't have good policies. They have good policies. The problem is the implementation of the policy. That's where the problem is. And when they are not able to follow what the policy says, they bring different form of interpretation, and then they take the matter to the court. And then the court, the judiciary system needs serious reform. INEC needs serious reform. The police institution needs serious reforms. Where people cannot use police and execute whatever they want. You have a matter that needs to go to court, simply go to court. And I think that's what we must, as a matter of fact, promote seriously the issue of alternative dispute resolution. We have some of those centers, but we must make them functional. And even the Nigerian police as a whole must have alternative dispute resolution in their own centers, in their own divisions, so that whenever a matter is brought before the division, it has to pass through the alternative dispute resolution to see the matter. Does this matter worth taking further action, or it should remain at the level of alternative dispute resolution and let somebody mediate and let the matter resolved? Let all those options be considered and weighed, and if it will not work out, then of course you can seek for another step. Do you understand? So that you cannot see a case and then you say this case must go through the court. No. There are some people that are in prison today. In prison today, they are waiting trials. Awaiting what? Trials. 11 years somebody is in prison. Awaiting trials. For what? Some of the issues could have been easily handled through the alternative dispute resolution, but you take it to court. Some people are in police say, police is not correctional center. Right? So according to the law, as best as I know, I don't know much about law, but the ones I know, I knew that you are not to be detained for more than 48 hours without being charged to court. Go to visit our police stations, divisions. You will discover that there are some people that are there for more than 5 years. They are there. They have not been charged to court. Worst cases, if you don't have anybody that will come for you, you will remain there. No bail for you. You understand? And some of them cannot even afford bail application. They cannot afford it. And so they are there. You see the reason why I say that all the lawyers in the institute must rise to the occasion to make sure that people get justice. You understand? Let people charge them to court, let the matter be addressed. Or if you cannot charge them to court, send them to the arbitration center or the alternative dispute resolution or mediation center or whatever. Like in the institute now, by next year we are establishing a mediation center in the institute, so that you have a case you don't want to take it to court, bring it before us. We can help you to mediate instead of taking it to court. Taking it to court means wasting time, wasting resources. It is a distraction. If you are a serious, whether you are an organization or you are an individual that is serious with your life, you don't need to go to court. Do you understand? Like the people we are going to send as representative of the institute in other countries, what we are going to give there as an option when there is any issue or dispute is alternative, an arbitration center or a mediation center. These are things we're going to consider. We look at the ECOWAS level, we look at the African Union level, because since we are going at the international, we should look at a regional or at the continental level. An arbitration center or a mediation center that can handle dispute that has to do with the institute and its representative. Do you understand? We are not going to use anything quote except and whereby we explore all options and they didn't work, that we take it to court. Are you point now? But all issues must stop and resolve at this level of mediation, so that we'll not end up wasting our time, we'll not end up wasting our resources. Are you point now? We are a focused institution. We cannot be wasting time going to court. I should not have that time. Do you understand? So that's why it is. So if you know what you want and you are serious with your life, avoid court. Most especially in our own country, avoid court, except you have no option. But if you do, use the other alternatives and forget about court. Do you understand? Even sometimes, even if it seems as if somebody is going to cheat on you, by certain actions, you can still fulfill it and go. When you weigh and look at it, the time you are going to waste, how and the resources you are going to waste in addition, how will all of this benefit you at the end of the day? What if you did not even win the case? I get a point now because sometimes in my own country, sometimes judgment are being put. So what do you do? So we're going to have a mediation center. So anybody who want to use that channel to resolve their conflict, you can. We address, we help you to resolve your problem. That's it. Right? So another importance or role of human rights in policy making is promoting social inclusion, you know. So all the marginalized and vulnerable groups are being considered, and it's also build cohesive and inclusive societies. Do you understand? So that everybody is carried along. Nobody is dropped behind. Do you understand? Nobody is dropped behind. Everybody is carried along. Policies targeting women's empowerment or disabilities rights. So whether you are a disabled person, you know, you are being considered. Whether you are a woman, you are not being discriminated on the basis of your gender, no, or your sex rather. It's not worth it. So development oriented policies, when policies are consider on the rights of the people, then they embed what rights in economic, social, and cultural development. They leads to what sustainable development, you know, most especially the ones that align with the SDGs. So these are the issues. So let's look at key principles for human rights in governance. Key principles for human rights in governance: universality and inalienability. Do you understand? Inalienable and universal policies. Those are human rights principles that are being accepted globally and cannot, they are indivisible. Do you understand? They are indivisible. Then, so all individuals are entitled to rights without exception. Without exception. It doesn't matter. You are a disabled person, you are entitled to life. Do you understand? So nobody should deny you life on the basis of your disability. No. I got to understand that there are some countries that are trying to consider some laws to facilitate the passing on of some people who maybe have terminal diseases and they want to, like, I don't want to go through this stress. Don't want to suffer pains. I should just die and go. I get the point now. But the life is not yours. So why are you facilitating it to be taken? Why are they facilitating for the cutting of a life that they did not create? And of course, again, the adversity or the terminal illness that someone is going through can possibly be healed. Have you not heard of people healed of cancer? These are terminal illness. Have you not heard of it? Have you not heard of people who have terminal ailments but have lived for long? So why facilitate the killing of those people? But it's a law, they are considering it. Some countries already have it. And in some countries where people are so depressed, they use that to kill themselves quickly. You understand? They use it. Some used to even travel to other places to go and do it. I think we have it in Poland, and some people used to travel to Poland to go and do it. You understand? So, all right, let's go on. So I don't want to question much about it. I'm not in the environment, so they know better what they're doing. So non-discrimination policies must be avoid direct or indirect discrimination, right? So whatever form of discrimination must be avoided. And I understand the reason why some societies are actually encouraging such kind of policies of killing people who had terminal diseases. I understand. Some of them, they live as individuals. Do you understand? They don't live like a communist or a socialist kind of society. Do you understand? Like in Africa here, we have that sense of communism. We have that sense of socialism. So it's very, very difficult for us to encourage such kind of policies because no matter how our loved one is still suffering, we still love them, we still care for them, we still, show them love and as much as we can. Do you understand? Sometimes it takes resources, sometimes it takes energy, it takes everything, but we still are grateful that they are still around. I get a point now. So sometimes introducing that kind of policy in Africa, for instance, will be very, very, very hard based on the fact that we live a communist form of life. I get a point now. So that is it. So but in other environments where there are no such kind of living, it's easy for such policies to go through because people are so solitary, people are so sad, people are so isolated. They are just about themselves, and then you know sometimes it doesn't work. It doesn't work it. So these are the issue, right? So policies must avoid direct or indirect discrimination. Police participation and inclusion, right? Engage citizens, especially marginalized group in decision making, right? Let them have a say when policies are being considered. Give them opportunity to contribute to policy formulation. And of course, they will support its implementation eventually if the policy turns active. So accountability, accountability. So governments must be accountable. Do you understand? For implementing and respecting human rights. So any government at all must be held accountable. I don't know whether Bashir Assad will be let to go like that. No. I think that the people of Syria will call for justice. Do you understand? They will call for an accountability. You, Assad, you and your father, you have governed our country for more than 50 years. Come and give an account of your leadership. Now that you are still alive, but you are no longer in power, come and give an account of how you use this power. You understand? And I think he should be questioned because a lot happened in Syria. I must tell you, a lot, a lot, a lot. One of the countries that was so much devastated with so all manner of sets and all manner of you know conflict, civil war, all manner external attacks, precious. You understand? So and he was living so large. I was able to saw a video where they open his what do you call it, palace, palace where he was living. Those are bulletproof, enjoying life, flexing, while people were being killed, seriously killed. I think the international community should ask the extradition of that man back to Syria. Let him be tried. Let him face, you know, because he abused the rights of the people during his time as a Bashir Assad. You understand? So that's accountability. I'm talking about accountability. That's why I'm mentioning that. All right, that's why I'm mentioning it. When Charles Taylor commits human rights abuses, he was being tried, and subsequently he was jailed. Accountability. You understand? So government must be accountable for implementing and respecting human rights. So when you abuse the right of the people, you should be held accountable. You understand? It's very painful that times when the rights of people are being abused, people still support such abuse. But anytime you support an abuse, just have it in your mind that if you will not face it directly by yourself, your children will face it. That's why you must not support any abuser. Do not support any abuser. Whether it's your brother, it's your sister, no. So, examples of human rights oriented policies: right to health policy, example, universal health coverage programs ensuring affordable health care, right? It reduces health disparities and improve quality of life. That's what that policy is all about. Right to education policy, example, free primary education mandate in countries like Kenya and India. Kenya people, Indian people, are you here? Let us know. Uh-huh. So it helps to break the cycle of poverty and promote equality and of course reduce ignorance. And you know, it's a policy. So everybody go to school. Right to education. Free education is for you. Go to school. You understand? Freedom of expression. Freedom of what? Expression. Freedom of expression. Right? So policy that encourages people to speak out, call the government out. You understand? Government is doing something wrong. Call them out. Let them come and explain. Gender equality. All those policies. So challenges in integrating human rights, resource constraints, always a challenge. Political will. Sometimes politicians don't have that political will to implement certain things because they themselves are the abusers. So sometimes they find it difficult to implement some of these policies because it will indirectly or directly affect them in turn. So political will, lack of political will is also an issue. Do you understand? So and sometimes they are afraid. They are afraid of losing election. You understand? You want to do a particular policy, but you're afraid of losing election. Like for instance, now the tax reform be in Nigeria. Tax reform be in Nigeria is a critical example. They are finding it difficult to move forward because a section of the country say no, the policy is going to affect them. And then somebody is being political correct. You know, you want to political, what do you call it, political correctness. Do you understand? They just want to be sure that they're not getting it wrong. Someone was even telling the presidency that it's in our region, you got 60% of the vote. So, and then you want to implement a policy that is not favorable to us. So, the black political way to do it, political way, political will. He's been afraid that if he carry on with this, he may be, but not the issue. So, enforcement mechanism. So, weak judicial system failing to uphold human rights laws. Weak judicial system like what we have in Nigeria. I've just give you a example of what Farah told me. They just give a different interpretation. They give I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. Balancing security and rights. Balancing security and rights. Counter-terrorism policies infringing on civil liberties. All of these things are being considered. So let's look at some of the best practices for human rights-based policy making. Best practices for human rights-based policy making. Best practices for human rights-based policy making. Conduct human rights impact assessment. Evaluate potential impacts of policies on different groups. So that's what the North we're talking about. This policy, yeah, it may be good, but it have certain impacts on, so it should be reconsidered. It should be it should carry out consultation. All right, it's good. Let policy go through a thorough assessment and let's see how it impacts certain regions. You understand? They give their own you know excuses. They talk about how it's going to affect the north, talk about how it's going to affect the southeast and all of that. But I wanted to carry out that policy and do a thorough assessment, and but I didn't just have time to look into that. But the policy itself is not bad. The policy was intended. One of the things me I see in that policy was to remove laziness from certain states. There are some companies, even if the derivation we're talking about is based on what you produce, but we're talking about VAT based on what you have consumed. You understand? So, and even if what is you produce, we have certain mineral resources in the north that are not being exploited. They must be exploited, and some of them are being exploited, but in the private hands of some powerful politicians, and nobody dare to question it. Do you understand? So why can't you question it? Why can't you take it and begin to, produce and earn more money, and then take people out of poverty, send children to school, and then you know, do massive infrastructure development, provide jobs, take people out of the bush that call themselves bandits and terrorists and whatever. So, but the policy is under review, under consideration. Let's see how it goes. You understand? But political will is we have mentioned it, and then of course what is going on now is what we call evaluating what potential impact of policies on different groups. So this is what is going on. Conducting human rights impact assessment, but this one is not on the basis of human rights. Do you understand? But in a way, indirectly it affects the rights of the people. Do you understand? So it's going through that evaluation, and I think it's good. Do you understand? It's good. So engage stakeholders. Example, consult civil society organization during policy formulation. I think that's what is going on concerning that particular bill. Say, oh, let's go do a wide consultation. So that is the wide consultation. I think you understand. But if we are to write our own now, our own look on the policy, we say that we support the policy wholeheartedly. Let people go and work, consume more. There were so many arguments in that policy. Do you understand? But these are the issues. So build institutional capacity, uh, train officials on human rights frameworks and implementation. Here, Brennan. So this is what we're doing. Human rights and implementation. So institutions that are in promoting human rights must be trained. So let's look at another topic: social welfare policies and their impact on marginalized communities. Social welfare policies and their impact on what marginalized communities. So um, policies, social welfare policies are government initiatives that aim at ensuring that the well-being of citizens are being addressed, no, most especially when it concerns socio-economic inequalities. Do you understand? So uh, the objective, of course, of bringing this kind of policies is to improve quality of life, reduce poverty, and promote social equity. Do you understand? So, and the focus is on the marginalized communities, where you see people that are crying for, marginalization. We give them opportunities to be considered in the mainstream of the economy. I think that is the reason why President Bola Tinubu established the Southeast Development Commission. All right. And then I think the Southwest School or the South, no, the Southwest, I think, and Development Commission. I don't know whether we have North Central Development Commission. I don't know. But I think we have the Northeast, we have the Northwest. You understand? So that's it. Types of social welfare policies: poverty alleviation policies. All right. So conditional cash transfer programs like Brazil's Posa Familia, like it took a lot of people out of poverty. Do you understand? We have cash conditional transfer in our country, but our own here, I don't know how many people it took out of poverty, because 5,000 cannot take anybody out of poverty. During Buhari administration, they were transferring for 5,000 conditional cash transfer, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. So that one cannot take anybody out of poverty. That, in fact, it will even push them down into poverty. 5,000 under Buhari administration. 5,000. No wonder we have gone deep into poverty. Do you understand? Because before Buhari stepped into power, I think the poverty ratio of Nigeria, I think it was about, poverty rate was about 100 and million. But before my guy goes, we reach like 141 waiting something million people. You understand? So this is how this it. So it's because 5,000. You know. But in Brazil, 11 million people were taken out of poverty. Do you understand? Housing policies. So, for instance, now in India, Prashan, are you there? You come and tell us more on this. India's Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which provides affordable housing for low-income families, right? So reduce homelessness among marginalized groups. Do you understand? So for us, when housing policies are being, when housing, low houses income are being even built to provide by our own government here, politicians still turn around and buy them. They buy them at a cheaper price and sell them at the exorbitant rates. Federal housing estates, politicians bought them, resell them, and make more money. So these are the issue here. You understand? So for us here, everything a business. Government good intention for the people is a business opportunity for others to manipulate and exploit. So educational policies like the US Head Start program, which offers early child education to low-income families, to make them to you know address the challenge of children starting school. Do you understand? So please, if you are not share this link of this training on your wall, do it. All right. And then those of you for peace and conflict management, you have written an exam. You must do a testimonial video and send to us. You must do it. We're not giving you link to get your certificate. You must send us the video. We relax on the issue of simulation training because we're looking at the possibility of exhausting all the groups, which was not there. If we say we must exhaust all the groups, the course will be dragged to maybe January and then before you can get your certificate. So we just have to that because in the process of grouping, we would have grouped more people in one group and then have less groups. That's what we would have done instead. But we didn't reason it very well. We thought we could be able to achieve that. Although it was achievable, it's just that we did not have good time. If you have enough time, a lot of activities affected our pressure, so couldn't do it. But there's one thing that you will not escape. You must send us a testimonial video. You may escape simulation, but you may not escape testimonial video. You do not send it to us, you will not get serial number to get your certificate. Group readers must send me videos of all their group members. Do you understand? That's it. So employment and livelihood support. Example, South Africa's expanded public work programs is help to provide temporary job for people to gather experience like the NYSC that we used to do. Is people say we should scrap NYSC. Scrap NYSC is going to be very, very dangerous for Nigeria. We cannot dare it. So when the youth finish, tell them to go and do voluntary 1 year service. They gather skills there. Some of them, they little pay, they give them the safe start business at the end of that program and life starts. Do you understand? So they must go and serve. It's to help them to get acquire skills, learn something, acquire experiences, and then begin to face life gradually. Social security and pension schemes. Old age pension scheme in Kenya, for instance, for senior citizens from low income households help to reduce dependency and financial insecurity among the elderly. So that's why it helps. That's the impact of that policy. So let's look at key features of effective social welfare policies. Number one, it's targeted interventions that is focused on specific vulnerable groups. It's not everybody vulnerable groups, right? So rights-based approach. It helps to advance the fundamental rights of the people, right? Community participation involves marginalized groups in policy design and implementation. Do you understand? So that's what the policy does. So Impact of social welfare policies on marginalized communities, reduction in poverty. That's what it helps to achieve. Like I said, in Brazil, for instance, that conditional cash transfer remove people out of poverty. About 11 million people will be taken out of poverty. Enhance access to basic services, all right, like the affordable healthcare is there. Empowerment of women. Women are being supported. Like in Bangladesh, we have what we call the microcredit schemes, right, which help to take women out of poverty. Do you understand? That's what we call financial inclusion. Do you understand? Financial inclusion. And the Grammy Bank in Bangladesh is responsible for this and is helping. Social inclusion, reservation policies in education and employment for Dalits and Adivasis in India also helps to increase representation and uphold what upward mobility for historical oppressed groups. So that's what it is. So improve educational outcomes, promote or promotion of health equity. You understand? So what are the challenges in implementing social welfare policies? Limited resources because it requires a lot. For instance, now when you talk about conditional cash transfer, that's why Nigeria was given for 5,000 naira. And 5,000 naira cannot buy even a bag of rice, cannot buy anything. Now, say it's you cannot even try it. You understand? So it will not help. Limited resources and be a challenge. Corruption and mismanagement. Sometimes it's the policy that is meant for the welfare of the people are being mismanaged, are being cornered. You understand? So problem. Exclusion of target groups. Sometimes they divert what is meant for one group to another. From the group that is most is needing this the most, they take it away from them and give to another group that is not needing it. Stigma and discrimination are some of those things. So best practices for effective social welfare policies: data driven what targeting, data what driven targeting, capacity building, monitoring and evaluation, policy integration can help to make social welfare policies to be effective when they are data driven, when you focus on you carry out statistics, carry out survey to know who needs it the best before you begin to wind down or begin to design policies to cover such, right? So addressing corruption and ensuring accountability is the last topic we are going to consider. So corruption is the abuse of entrusted power for private gains, which undermines development, trust, and fairness in governance. Do you understand? So if you are doing that magu, koni, what you are doing is corruption. So accountability, mechanisms and processes that hold individuals and institutions responsible for their actions, ensuring transparency and trust. That's the accountability. So significance of addressing corruption. Why we must address the issue of corruption? Because it strengthens governance and democracy, promotes economic growth and equitable resource distribution. Because if not, people can misuse their offices, abuse their offices, do you understand? Enhances trust in public institutions. That's why we must fight corruption. And we have several forms of corruption. I'll just mention them: bribery, embezzlement, nepotism, and cronyism. You understand? So fraud, and then we have extortion. All of these are forms of what? Corruption. Nepotism and cronyism means favoring relatives or friends in decision making. I was hearing that one person, they are calling him land grabber now. in Abuja here. He collected land from one person, give to a company that is have positive relationship with. So you can see problem, embezzlement, right? Corruption, right? Fraud, right? So strategies for addressing corruption, strengthening legal frameworks, promoting transparency, whistleblower protection. Here, if you blow that whistle, if you escape, thank you God. But there's that but there's that policy on ground by the EFCC. If you see something, say something. But if you say it anyhow, you enter prison, and you sabi. So, but they say we should say something or say something. So sometimes you see something, but you have to keep quiet because what you see is big and it can consume you. So better keep quiet. When most especially your safety is not guaranteed. Establishing anti-corruption agencies, we have plenty of them in Nigeria. Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crime Commission, you know, they are there to investigate. We have ICPC, I get a point now. They are also there. So leveraging technology, we need to leverage technology to bring some of those things to pass, encouraging civic participation, international cooperation. So some of the things I will need to do. Mechanism to ensure accountability, independent judiciary. Are you getting the point now? Independent judiciary. So judiciary, please, people should try and be independent. The interference in the judiciary is too much in this country. Sometimes presidents are appointing the chief judge of the federation. Justice in the Supreme Court have been appointed by the president. Why? Let there have a separate independent process whereby these people are being considered. Transparent procurement processes. Yes, we are, and this is where the corruption takes place. Procurement, under procurement. Something of 20 naira, they tell you 60 naira. Something of 10,000, they tell you it's 100,000. Procurement. Challenges of addressing corruption. Weak institution, like I was saying, police weak. People are using you to go and do arrest somebody on this side. Judiciary problem. Institution weak institution. INEC cultural acceptance. Right. Another issue is that there are some people that accept corruption. In this my country, more we celebrate corruption. The more money you get, the more you are being celebrated. How can a governor steal over 100 and something billion, and the only bail you are granting him bail of just 500 million? Why? What happened? Why not 5 billion? Why not 10 billion? Cultural acceptance, lack of political will, insufficient resources. All of these can be responsible for what corruption and the challenges to continue. So this is the much we can take for today. Any question? Any question? Any question? No question. So some say procurement wahala. Of course. So if you say you have a question, you ask Mr. Ibile. You have question, ask. Desamin, thank you. Thank you, sir. It's very profound. Thank you very much. So I'm working on the manual. I will the manual. Let me see. Tomorrow I'm be very, very busy, but let's see how it goes. So but maybe by this week or within the weekend of this week, over the weekend I can give you the manual. So now somebody's asking question. Somebody's asking question. What can be done to sanitize the Nigerian police and our judicial system? I said it now. I said that they need serious reform, right? It just need a reform. Just simple. Um, make some reform, bring in some new laws prohibiting certain behaviors completely, and then putting penalties, stringent penalties, and then you see um, the attitude will change. No police officer will ask anybody to give them bribe on the road. You understand? Yeah, I was traveling to Makodi from Abuja. So many checkpoints on the road, and they expect you to give them something. Some of them are just asking irrelevant questions. You understand? So it's not correct. We know that there is security challenges, but no, it was too much. It's just too much. So what they need is reform. The system should be reformed. Put certain laws in place prohibiting certain behaviors and defined stringent what penalties, and you see that certain behaviors will change completely. And then they should also undergo certain training. So they must, some of them came join the police force through what we call recruit. Recruits are limited in education. Some of them are not educated. You understand? So they need to undergo certain training. And sometimes their professional training in terms of the police training alone is not enough. They should be trained on other aspects. Peace, conflict resolution, you understand, peace building, conflict resolution, are you the point now? They should be trained in leadership, communications. Very, very important. Why is it so difficult to address corruption in this country? Corruption is not only difficult to address in this country, corruption issues are generally difficult to address globally. The only thing you can do is to strengthen institutions and make laws that have no lacunas. All right. When you make laws that have no loopholes where people can take advantage of. For instance, let me give you an opportunity. Let me give one example. When you say that someone can decamp from a political party to another political party if there is crisis in their party, what does that mean? It means that there will always be crisis in the political party. I get a point now. Because anytime I want to leave, I will cause trouble. Even if I'm not directly causing the trouble, I can sponsor trouble. Do you understand? And so we have crisis. So what do we do? That section of the constitution, like this, for instance, should be redefined that nobody should cross carpet. That is, don't decamp. No matter the crisis in your party, remain there and solve the problem. I get a point now. But when you give the people leverage to decamp on the basis of crisis, then there will always be. That's why political parties in our country are always crisis stricken. I get the point now. Every day crisis here, every day crisis here. One man is in two political parties. Is having as an appointee in one political party. his eyes are in an, I don't understand, causing trouble. I beg. See, so that's the reason why we're having those kind of challenges. Do you understand? So, for instance, now that particular section of the constitution must be corrected so that you, if it is incorrect, now you cannot see people determine because po- political parties, for instance, are supposed to base on ideologies. But many of our political parties, or in fact, all our political parties in this country, for instance, Nigeria, for instance, have no ideology. Do you understand? So we just move, cross check, move, cross check. Do you understand? So far as your interest in one political party is not fulfilled, you can just cross the over to another and then fulfill your interest. It shouldn't be so. So that's why corruption is very, very difficult to because it's always fighting back. You understand? But the best way you can fight corruption is when institutions are being strengthened, when laws are being made straight. If we say electronic voting, tell INEC that the election is electronic voting, no option of in case there is no network anywhere. Where there's no network, there's no election. Forget about it. Do you understand? If it's electronic voting, let it be electronic voting. Whether in deep villages, let it be electronic voting. And in case where that unit does not have network, no election for them. Without them, I will still go. And you know, without them, I will still announce how many people bad way that vote in the election. Nigeria is over 200 million. How many people voted in the last election? Was the president not declared? So why all this excuse that where there is no network? No, 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 no. If it's electronic voting, let it be electronic voting. And then where there's no network ballot, manual. No, 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 no. It should not be so. Do you understand? So, but these are our laws. We have those lacunas there. Do you understand? So these laws must be straightened and be made straightforward without any form of. It does not require serious judiciary interpretation. Do you understand? Let it be so straightforward. But when they create room for judiciary manipulation, that's where you see where the corruption even now becomes so control. The judiciary that's supposed to sustain a system that is very effective now begin to interpret laws the way upside down, just upside down because some people say, let's meet in court, we're waiting for you there. So once you begin to hear that kind of statement, know that system is wrong. I hope I hope we are making sense. I'm taking your questions, all right? Now, if I'm not taking your examination and your simulation on, if I'm not taking your examination in peace and conflict management, forget it. Examination is over. We are not returning back, all right? The simulation, the problem is that I myself, I don't have time for that simulation. That's my problem. And that's why we just ignore it. We just take it right. Those that presented is as good as they learn something different. They just acquire skills that others themselves deny themselves of getting it. So if you have done your presentations, your simulation training, you have learned something better than others. Do you understand? That is just what it simply means. Um, but we don't want to make it be a serious requirement. So that's it. So thank you very much. So so thank you very much. We'll see tomorrow by no, tomorrow is Wednesday. So we'll not be having training tomorrow, but we have training on Thursday. All right. So see you on Thursday uh by 7 p.m. Have a great night. Bye.